Chart of accounts in ERPLY books can be accessed in accounting and chart of accounts. Here you can see that every account has its number name and different types. Also it has a tag. Tag is for your own reporting purposes. For example, you don't like the ERPLY books balance sheet layout and you need some kind of balance sheet internally, so you can create your own one here in the tags. We will see this in a separate video when we look into balance sheet and profit and loss statement. Also, account has its currency. Only money account can have different currency than your company account. The period locked since is meant for locking an account. If account locking data must be after the company locking data. For example, you are locking a company for 1st of September and today is, let's say, 10th of October. But you have managed to create all the bank account transactions for yesterday. So the bank account is done for yesterday's date, so you could select here yesterday. So nothing can be changed, added and deleted before 9th of October. The tax is used when you want to do some kind of automatic conversions for the taxes, and this will be looked through in another video when we look into the taxes. Now, when you create a new account, as I said, you need to select all of these types. For example, when you need to add a new expense account, then you can look here. For example, I need to add new category here, so I can add something like 5971, a new expense category, whatever it is. The account type is expenses. Now the balance type is added automatically because you don't want to see this in balance sheet. Instead, you want to see this in the profit level in the balance sheet. And the income statement type is other operating expenses, for example. Cash flow type is by default net income, although you can also change this if needed. And done. I've added it. Now these are the accounts. What you can see when you select account selection option. For example, when I go to purchase invoice and select account here, then I can see this new expense category here. But by default is this account. Why is this account selected by default? This is coming from system accounts. System accounts is settings, initial data, and system accounts. These are the predefined settings done by ERPLY books, which you can change all the time if needed, for the by default accounts used in different systems. Most used system accounts are bank account. For example, when you do a bank import, then by default it gives you this bank account. The second is accounts receivable, of course. When you create a sales invoice, when you pay a sales invoice, it uses this account by default. Although there is a much more complex account hierarchy you can build in ERPLY books, which we will see in another video also. Also, a lot times will be used these requirements to suppliers. These are the vendor prepayments. So by default, when you add a prepayment to vendor, it uses this account. When you add a new fixed asset, it uses this account. The depreciation is the by default account used when you do the calculate depreciation. Of course, you can change it in purchase and sales articles. Here you have this depreciation account. If it's empty, it uses the system account. VAT debt is used both for the sales tax and VAT payables. It's by default selected here, but you can always override it in the tax rates. But it's just that when you add a new tax rate, it by default selects this account here. At the moment I have country set as United States, that's why it is thinking that there is no way I can have a debit amount in the tax, in the sales tax. Now, it also uses a lot of time this primary income account. When you add a new sales invoice in ERPLY books, or where you synchronize from different systems, then if you don't change any rules at all, it always uses this account here. And as I already mentioned, there was the service expense, which you can see here. When you add a new purchase invoice, then by default it is thinking that it's just the service expense. Of course, you can always change it, but that's the by default account it selects. Okay, I think that's it for managing the accounts, chart of accounts in ERPLY books. Thank you for watching.